Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Sitting back here in the backyard and what I'm calling one of my favorite spots, as I identified in the last episode, right by the Bahay Kubo, underneath the coconut tree, which I think I should write a song underneath the coconut tree. I keep saying that in my mind. Okay, note to self, write song about underneath the coconut tree. Okay, I have that embedded in my memory, my notebook in my memory. Oh, we know where that's gonna go. So anyway, sitting here in the backyard, and I was thinking as I was editing my last video, there were so many things that I missed that I wanted to cover. As I sit back here in the backyard, under the enhanced community quarantine, because again, this is the only place we can kind of hang out these days, I keep thinking to myself, there's so many things back here I want to bring up, and I keep forgetting those as I'm doing the post editing. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to do a little bit of catch-up work. Plus, I just want to show you a few things that I think would be great to have as part of your emergency backup kit in the event that you have something like a in-house quarantine that I'm glad that I was able to store away before we got into this situation. Well, that's enough for the intro. Let's go ahead and get today started. Now, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, I often start my videos with some pictures of the growth of some of the fruits and the vegetables that are going on inside the property here at Villa Feliz. But I decided not to do that today because some of the topic that we're going to be talking about are some of those things that are growing inside the garden, and some of the plants and the things that we've done. Specifically, we're going to talk a little bit today about pruning and about grafting, and that's just a brief section of what we're going to talk about today. But those are a couple of topics that I have avoided or forgotten to include in some of the previous episodes. So let's start today. I want to go ahead and walk around and show you the couple of things that I did in the last couple of days that I didn't include in previous videos that I want to share with you today. Now, I've got to tell you, this was the place to be last night. Ness and I hung out in the Bahay Kubo last night. There wasn't enough light around. We have a light on the inside. And we have a fan inside there, but we really didn't need it because we had a nice breeze last night like we have right now. I don't know if you can see behind me or maybe here on the microphone, but it's kind of a breezy day today. And we're going in between heavy clouds and then pure sunlight like you see right now. I think there's a forecast for some thunderstorms, but I doubt it. We haven't gotten but I think 1 day of rain in over 2 months around here, but I would love to get some rain. Anyway, the thing that I wanted to do today is just backtrack on some things that I missed in previous episodes. So while we're standing right here by the little walkway that goes down into our driveway to the garage, what I want to do is show you something right here. And this is the Eugenia plants. This is what I want to talk about, and it has to do with pruning. Now, pruning is an important part of both the health of plants and also the aesthetics of plants. You have to be careful, though. You have to be careful that you don't over prune sometimes, because you can actually do some damage if you do too much pruning. But plants like this one here and this one over here, these are Eugenias. I don't know if you remember when we put the Eugenias in, they were huge. They filled. There was no gap in between. It was one big plant, sort of like the ficus, or what they call here the bolete tree. The bolete tree that we have over here, which they also call the ghost tree. Ooh. One of those superstitions over here in the Philippines. I like the ficus. I like the bolete tree. I think they're really beautiful. I got to do some work with that one over there, and it has to do with pruning. But what I'm focusing on today are the Eugenias. Now, what I'm trying to do with my Eugenias is give a little bit of a design. Two balls, a ball down here and a ball here. So I trimmed, remember they were big, they were huge here. So what I did, I cleaned some of the branches off here in the center. You can see where I trimmed them off with my little pruning pruning scissors that I had inside there. And my objective is to start making this around, make a ball here and a ball up there, sort of like what you would do if you were doing bonsai. And I did the same over here. Unfortunately, the limbs that came off of the side right here made it a little bit difficult. That's why it's a little thin here. But good thing about the Eugenia, it's a very robust and forgiving plant. What will happen is, you see all this on our Eugenia, all the red tips right here, the red tips are new growth. You can see all the new growth. It actually needs trimming again. I need to get the pruner out and prune a little bit again here. But what I did on this one is I did the same as the other side. I cut off sections right here, and this is a support pole right here. I'll pull this out once the trunk embeds much deeper inside the planter right here. But this will end up filling back up again. I will get a nice bunch here, and I'll continue to make this round, keep it clean in the center, and we'll have a ball on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to do something similar to that, but maybe more like bonsai, with many different little ball clusters on the Bolete ficus tree over there. It's growing too fast, and you got to be careful with ficus or the Bolete tree, because the root structure will get so big you can cause problems with your foundation. So we want to retard some of the growth of that one over there. Now this one has a single trunk, and there's nothing out here. We're not worried about anything here. And this we want for a shade tree, and these grow pretty fast. And eventually, over the next 2 or 3 years, this will be pretty big, and we will start getting some shade in this area, because you can see the grass kind of dries out here because it doesn't have a lot of shade. During the summertime, the heat stress on bluegrass is hard, but that's why it needs a lot of watering. Now this is our mango. This is our Indian mango tree back here. And Indian mango trees usually grow fairly big, not as big as some of the other mango varieties. But this will take an aggressive pruning to keep it manageable back here in the backyard. Now what they do here, not just here, anywhere around the world where they grow mangoes, what they will do at some point, you'll clip off pruning all the tips of each one of the ends of the branches that come off the mango. And what that does, it forces flowering, and that's really a good way for you to get additional or more fruiting on the mango tree. You'll get more mango fruit. I haven't done that because right now I'm shaping this tree, but you can also do that as part of the shaping. Now something else you can do with your mango is you can thin it out a little bit in the center. If it's really dense in the center, you can clip some of the limbs on the inside and give a little bit more light. What they call this the canopy. And you can have some more light going down inside the canopy to promote the health of the outer limbs, and that also helps you with getting a little bit more produce, a little bit more growth of the fruit on your mango tree. It keeps the mango tree healthy. Now something I want to show you here on the apple guava, you see I trimmed this branch right here. I actually trimmed several of the branches. Here's another one over here that I trimmed. Now this one was growing really tall. There was a big limb that came way up high up here, and the rest of them were down here. Now when you're shaping a tree, especially at the very beginning, what you can do, you can actually cut back on a lot. You can cut back to make it a nice rounded shape, and it's not going to hurt anything, because the ones that seem to shoot up really fast and grow really tall, what happens is a lot of energy is going to that limb, and it's not producing in the lower section right here, which is what you want to do. You want to have a nice even growth pattern on most of your plant. So even though it looks like you're really messing up, I got this great limb that's growing up here, and it's so beautiful. Sometimes it helps for the rest of the plant. And I also want to show you something here, and I did this yesterday. If you remember, we had this Guyabano tree back here, and I already trimmed. It had two big pieces of the trunk that came up here. One big section right here, and then this section. So what I did, I looked at the healthier of the two, and I cut the second section off, because what we want to do, we want to promote a rounded section up here. Now this isn't even part of this tree. As you can see, and I did this yesterday, I grafted this Guyabano leaf from a tree that's already producing, making fruit, to this one that was planted from seed. We actually picked this up from one of our friends who lives in a subdivision not very far from us. Now, the grafting technique that I used here on the main branch right here, I cut a V. So it was like this. There was a V inside there. Then on the branch that I grafted in, I did a point like an arrowhead. I slid it in and I used this grafting tape inside here. I put them together, and what we're hoping that we get a really good tight bond inside there. And it acts like a heel of a bone. If you break a bone in your body, or you get a crack, you get a sprain, or when you put them together and you hold it for a very long period of time, which is like you would have a cast, it will heal itself. All the fiber inside there will grow together. Now, this branch was already producing off of a tree that was already producing the Guyabano fruit. So what this one should do, once it heals itself here, it will produce fruit much faster, several years faster than if we would have just used this from the seed. Now, I got to show you something that's just totally amazing to me. You were with me 2 days ago, and we were looking at the vines, and we'd already picked all of the green beans, the long green beans, off of our vining green bean plant here. Well, in 2 days, this is incredible. I can't believe this. I want you to see. In 2 days, you see this? This is a new green bean plant that we have right here. I think there were two. Oh, here. And then this one right here. In 2 days, it grew like 8 inches a day. Can you believe this? This is crazy. I'm always so surprised when I walk back here. And you remember just from 2 days ago, we showed the little seedlings just started back here for the cantaloupe. I want you to look how good these are doing back here right now. And our little potato plant over here. Now, as part of my survival kit and my hobby, you know, I always like working with the seeds, and we grow a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I picked up a survival garden kit. I picked this up when I was back in the U.S. and it has a little bit of every kind of seed if you want to do your own home garden. And when you produce your own vegetables, a lot of your vegetables produce more seeds. So what you can do, if you have something that has tomato seeds or say like cantaloupe, when you produce cantaloupe, what you can do is you can put the seeds back inside and replenish your stock inside here. So you always have a supply of seeds that you have for the following seasons, and that's what we'll continue to do here. That's why I have things like cantaloupe and tomato and zucchini. Love zucchini, fried zucchini. So anyway, and what I do, if you don't have the normal gardening containers, you can make up your own. And what I do, you already know, I have a soft spot for ice cream. So what I do is I will take ice cream containers like this. When I get done with them, I save the lid and I save the bottom. What I'll do, I will drill several holes, about 5 holes in the bottom with a drill for drainage. And then I'll put some soil in like you see here, some good potting soil. And then I'll fill it in there and I'll put it back on top of the lid, because the lid will act in case you have any overflow of water if you overwater. And we'll use that, and that way it also doesn't damage the surface of whatever you put it on, if you put it on your porch or a table or something like that. So you can see I have these, and I have lots of different inside one, and we'll transplant lots of different seeds, and we'll transplant that into the garden as they start growing or into bigger pots. And the way I do it to try to be organized, because most of the time I'm not organized, I just kind of stick everything. Like I stuck a few seeds over in the mango little tree, the potted mango tree the other day. But what I'll do is I'll make a little map. So I know that this over here is the magnolia, and this is my peanut crunch cookie box over here, which will be this one right here. So for this one right here, I have a little mark on this, a little black mark, which is this black mark. So what you see over here that's growing is cucumber, Back over here, I have some sprouts that are growing. This is some carrots that are growing over in this area. There will be some bell peppers here, I hope. I have some spinach right here and some celery over here. Now for this over here, I have eggplants, some tomatoes, cabbage, spinach, and some more bell peppers. They're a little slow to grow, but give them time. That you will be successful. You will get plants, especially this time of year. What you want to do with your watering, you want to do some watering, dry out, watering, dry out, and it's a cycle. Don't leave it wet too long. Don't leave it dry for too long. And then you'll have a successful seedlings that you can transfer over to your garden. So my recommendation to you, at the end of the day, at the end of the dinner meal, a lot of times we throw out the leftover pieces of vegetables and things that we don't eat. If they have seeds in them, take them out, clean them, take them out, let them dry, and then put them in a bag for later, or plant them right away, and then you'll have the beginnings of your raised bed garden. Now the other thing I want to talk about is I had a failure. You know, we have irrigation. I built an irrigation system here at Villa Feliz to do all the watering of the entire property. I have 8 zones, 6 of which are normally for the lawn and for the shrubs and the main part of the yard. I have 1 that's reserved, so I have 6, 1 that's reserved, and then I have 1 for an outside faucet, or what they call a water bib here, that I can do watering on the outside of the fence. They're all controlled by one of these controllers. Well, not this controller anymore, and I'll talk about this. I had a failure of this one right here. But luckily, what I did when I built my system, such as anything you do when you're building your house and you have things that you think that might fail, like some lights, you might want to get some spares. So for my irrigation system, I bought some brand new one of these, and I have some backups. They're down inside the basement in a cupboard down there. In the event that any fail like this one did, you can replace it. So what I did, I didn't replace the entire unit. This is actually still brand new. This portion is brand new. This is from the new unit. As you can see, there's no dirt or anything. But this section where these 4 screws are here, and this solenoid up here, I took from the new unit. I pulled this off and I put it in the failed unit. This way I didn't have to disconnect any piping, and it was just a matter of 4 screws, pop in and out. Now inside here is a diaphragm and a solenoid. Those are the 2 main parts of this unit. And this is what failed. What actually failed was the solenoid. And if you see, this is what allows the water to pass. This is like your light switch. This allows your water to flow based on electricity. There's a little magnet in here, and it opens up and closes when you have a water schedule on your program for your controller. But this failed right here, and I wasn't getting any water to that outside water bib. So what I did was I pulled this all apart from the new one, replaced it on the other one, and we're all good. We have all 7 zones working now, with 1 spare that we're going to use later for another project. And there's just a couple more things that I want to talk with you today about before we close out today's episode. These are things that were in the back of my mind that I keep saying, oh, I kept forgetting to talk about. Now we're going to start today. We're going to talk about the pineapple right here. The pineapple, the thing that I didn't talk about the other day was, what do you do after you cut off the pineapple? You have the fruit, it's ready to eat. You chop it off from the mother plant. Well, the mother plant will never produce another pineapple after that point. And you can take the new growth off of the new pineapple and plant it back inside the ground. Now you got to realize it takes about 2 years. It takes about 24 months before you'll start getting another pineapple, before it fruits again. But if you want to expedite and get much quicker and much more production of your propagation of your pineapple plant, let me show you something we have on the plant over here. Now over here we have something called slips. If you can see here, you see these right here? These are like suckers. You can also, if you want to relate it to the banana plants that we were talking about the other day, these are like pups. You have these, and they will grow around the base of the new pineapple. And you can plant these directly in the ground, and you will get pineapple plants growing much faster, or you'll get more. You'll get more pineapple from one pineapple mother plant right here. Now you have different names here. Directly underneath the pineapple, these are called slips. They're suckers, but the name that they call are slips. At the bottom of the plant, you get something that looks just like this, and the one at the bottom of the plant, they call that ratoons. And then you'll have suckers all along. They'll grow along the stem of the pineapple as the pineapple starts growing taller here. So you have 3 places that you can get these little suckers, and then you can take them and you can transplant and make your garden a little bit bigger with pineapples. Now I want to talk about one more item today. It's on my ketchup list. Not ketchup that you pour on your hot dog, the ketchup list that I forgot to talk about in previous episodes. It has to do with one of the essential items I believe you should have in your tool shed, inside your garage, inside your workshop, in the event that you can't get to places like the hardware store, in the event that there's a pandemic out there and you're locked inside your house. One of the necessary items that goes along with some of the tools that you should already have, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So what we're looking at here, I have a little Y. I have a Y that's connected to my garden hose, and it allows me to have water going to my little bundle of water for watering the yard over here, as well as I have, remember, we installed this automatic dog water feeder here so that the dogs always have a fresh supply of water all the time. And one leg goes off here to this, and one leg goes up to our garden hose reel. But I bought this Y here, and it's made out of plastics. I went for the hype. It had all this neat, it was even more expensive. It had all these neat reasons why you should buy this. But it's not made out of brass. It's made out of some plastics and some, different types of maybe magnesium. I don't really know. And it did good for the first year and a half. But just recently it started leaking. You could say I already did a repair. That's a partial repair. That's step 1 of the repair here. But what did I use to do the repair? Well, something you should have inside your inventory is epoxy. You should always have epoxy inside your house, whether it be clear epoxy or what I have here is, this is a marine, for marine applications. When it says marine applications, it works really well with things that are wet, like hoses. So you should, and this isn't very expensive at all. I don't remember how much I paid for this. Maybe 100 pesos, 150 pesos, or maybe even less, maybe 50 pesos, $1 to $3. It comes with a part A and a part B. It's basically an epoxy. There's a resin and a hardener, and you mix the two together. You take it out, you mix it together, it makes one compound, and then what it does is the hardener activates the resin over in part A, and then you take that and you spread it around whatever's broken. I use it on a lot of different applications around the house here. Now this one was leaking, and it's still leaking. I missed a couple little cracks, so I'm going to do a second application over this one and cover a little bit more, and I think I missed up underneath here. And then it is so strong, and it takes less than 24 hours to cure, and then we will be back in action here without any leaking water down here in our Y hose area. Well, that's about it back here in the backyard of Villa Feliz. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you found some of the information informative and rewarding. Now, I got a couple of things to announce, and one of the things, I hardly ever go to the analytics section of YouTube. It's good, especially for people who are monetizing. It's good to go and find out who their demographics are, and it helps you with producing videos. I've always said in the past, and I don't remember which episode that I talked about it, and I've talked about it with people here when they come visit us here at Villa Feliz. As you know, we get a lot of visitors who are subscribers that come and visit us when we are not under enhanced community quarantine. But we always get visitors, and I always say my demographics are, it's the United States, because the United States has 30 times the population that we have here inside the Philippines. And then it goes United States, then Philippines, and then it's like United Kingdom and Canada and Australia, and it just goes. It shows you all the numbers of all the different countries that visit your site and are subscribers to your site. Well, I've been telling people for such a long time, I predict I predict that the Philippines, our subscriber base here in the Philippines, because it's taking on so well here in the Philippines, it's going to overthrow our subscriber base in the United States, which was #1. So although the United States is unfortunately #1 with COVID-19 right now, the Philippines, on the good side, the Philippines has taken over our subscriber base. They are #1. We have a strong subscriber base here in the Philippines, and I want to thank all of you here in the Philippines, as well as all of our subscribers from everywhere around the world. But I want to thank you here in the Philippines for supporting us here on this channel and making us successful. It's people like you and the people around the world who enjoy things like this DIY, how-to, just life here in the Philippines, that continue to allow me to make these programs. And I want to thank each and every one of you. So that's going to be it for today. I'm sure I missed something. I pulled out some of the cobwebs inside the old skull here, and we were able to cover some of the things that I've missed. Things that I have not brought up today, we'll add to upcoming episodes as well. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did enjoy today's episode, please give me a thumbs up, please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You will be subscribed and you will be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time, you have a wonderful and safe and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.